In today's video, I'm reviewing the ARS VS-7XZ Secateurs. Now, these secateurs have become, over the last year, my secateur of choice, whether I'm working or at home in the garden. I like them so much, I stopped using my Felco secateurs, which I've been using for as long as I've been gardening. Before I get into why I'm switched over and like these secateurs so much, let's take a look at them secateurs themselves. So they are a small secateur. They do come in two other sizes, which I believe is the 8 and the 9 for medium and larger hands. I take a medium-sized work glove for context, but these fit my hands absolutely perfectly, and they're similar size to the Felco 14s, which are the secateurs that these guys replaced for me. The secateurs are only 180mm long and have a 48mm blade. They have a cutting capacity of 19mm and weigh 212 grams. They cost between £38 and £45 depending on where you get them and the size that you get. The blade is made out of high carbon Japanese steel, and it is superb quality with a hardened chrome plating coating over the surface of it for sap and rust protection. And there are spare parts available for it for pretty much all of the components. Again, a bit like Felco secateurs. To open and use the secateur, it has a unique opening and locking mechanism, which some people don't like, and personally I really do like. Once you get used to it, it's just simply a single squeeze and that pin drops and opens the secateur, and then to lock it, it's just push up with a thumb. And once you get used to it, I think it is a really smart way of opening and locking your secateurs. For years, I've always used Felco secateurs and I really like them. I've done various reviews on them and they've all been pretty positive. Since switching over to these, I've realized though the Felcos are good, they're not that good. And these ones, in my opinion, beat them hands down. They also have a few other features and the price in favor compared to something like the Niwaki Japanese style secateurs, which have an annoying catch, far more expensive, and don't come with the replaceable parts that Felco secateurs come with. So in my opinion, these sort of encompass all of the best bits of Felco and Japanese secateurs in a cheaper and better package, in my opinion. So what's good about the secateurs? Well, for me personally, and anyone who's got smaller hands, the fact that it comes in a smaller size is a big thing, so that anyone can buy them and they're going to fit perfectly for you. The price was a big point for me as well. Felcos have got really expensive these days. They're nearly £65 I think here in the UK, and Japanese Niwaki style secateurs are, some of them are a bit cheaper, but most of them are more expensive than that. So this one's sitting at that sort of, even at the highest end at about £45. These are a really good value secateur. The replaceability of all of the parts was a key point for me. I use these professionally as a gardener and I use them a lot, and I need them to be able to stand up to that. And not to say that secateurs without the ability to change components wouldn't have that durability. It just gives you that peace of mind that if you chip the blade or break it, drop it or whatever, that it's not going to be a case of writing it off and having to buy a whole new one. You'll be able to get that replacement part. It's more sustainable, it's more eco, and coming from Felcos, it's something that I used on occasions, which I really like. But really the key point for any secateur is its cutting performance, its blade quality, and this is where it really stands out against particularly Felcos and cheaper secateurs. The blade on this is superb, it really is. I have used ARS products in the past and the blades are all top quality, and this is no exception. The high carbon Japanese steel is super strong, super sharp, it holds an edge fantastically. You can sharpen it pretty easily to get to that razor sharp edge, and whereas with a Felco I'd be sharpening it sort of weekly, this one I've done one major sharpen and just sort of touched it up a few times, and I've had it for sort of 6 to 8 months now. So I have been super impressed by the quality of that blade. Matched with a good quality strong anvil, it cuts through things just super easily. I really can't speak highly enough about the quality of that blade and the cut that these secateurs offer. The chrome plating on these secateurs as well is a really smart feature and makes looking after them and just using them so much simpler. If you've got a high carbon steel blade, you get it wet, it's going to rust, that's what happens. But with this chrome plating on it, Though it will rust eventually, it is far more resistant to it. Equally, clearing off things like sap and things like that, it's super easy. You can just do it with a damp cloth or a bit of steel wool or something like that. It just wipes off so easily. And if you didn't want to do that, you know, because you've got that coating on there, you don't really even need to clean it. So it makes looking after them so simple and just takes out any sort of worry about them turning into a rusty pile of junk. It also helps on the hygiene side of things as well. A clean secateurs is better for you and for the material that you're cutting as well. In terms of negatives for these secateurs, I really struggled, I must admit. There were two things that came to mind. The first one is it doesn't come with a wire cutter slot. If you're familiar with Felcos, you'll know that they come with that little slot that allows you to cut wire and so on. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a nice little feature to have. The other point would be related to the sheath. Now this is the sheath that you can buy for it. It's about the same price as the Felco sheath, and personally I would recommend buying the Felco sheath. There's nothing wrong with it particularly, the leather is fine, but what I don't like about it is the belt clip. It's fine on here, fits on the belt perfectly fine. The problem is the belt loop actually runs through onto the front of it, and when you're putting your secateurs in, it kind of scratches them, kind of makes a noise and jangles a bit, and I just didn't really like it. I've covered it up with a bit of masking tape which has stopped it doing that, so I would just recommend getting the Felco sheath. I've tried it in a Felco sheath, it fits perfectly fine, and I just think it's a better sheath design. So if you're looking for a secateurs that offers the replaceability and longevity and sustainability of a Felco secateurs, but at a lower price point, but then offers the Japanese steel and quality of Japanese secateurs like Niwaki, then I really highly recommend these ones. They are a brilliant secateurs and I'm so glad that I started using them. I will leave a link to them in the description so you can check them out there. If you like the video, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing for more videos like this. And that just leaves me to say thanks again for watching. Bye for now.